Here we are, early Thursday morning, second to last day of Riders Week, which means we need to enjoy these moments even more, savor them, and live in the moment. We have another amazing group of students about to present. Before we get to that, thank yous once again to Mrs. Inc., Mr. Anderson, for organizing everything. Thank you to your teachers for helping put things together. Thank you to the tech crew who has everything on point. Big clap it up for them especially. Thank you to your parents who, if they contribute as boosters, help fund this event. Something that virtually not many schools do things like this, and if they do it, they don't do it as big as we do. And of course to you, the students, for taking a part in this and making this something that you want and that you're providing content for. So clap it up for yourselves as well. Clap it up for you guys. If you want to, after the show, we always have books for purchase, snacks for purchase, and all proceeds go to Riders Week. But enough of that. We have a group of amazing student writers. You're going to hear their voices. They're sharing their ideas, their thoughts, their emotions with you. So definitely give them your full attention. And it takes a lot of courage to come up here and share that with people. So they're really, putting themselves out there. And hopefully, maybe they inspire you to join next year as well. So with that being said, our first presenter is Olivia.
All right, shout out to Mr. Herridge's third period AP Lang class. This is my first time presenting at Writers Week, but today I'm sharing a mini essay I wrote about names. What is in a name? Well, while this might be an extraordinarily well-known quote from Shakespeare, I feel I can share a somewhat unique perspective on it. Growing up in a diverse community as I have, I've been exposed to a multitude of distinct names, and I find myself jealous. Jealous that people have names that hold such significance to them, whether that be cultural or just within their individual families. Consequently, I have become kind of obsessed with decoding the meaning of mine. As someone with the third most popular name for girls in the United States in 2009, I can say that on the surface, my name does not seem to have much meaning. But if you were to ask my mom, she would say that my name does have a meaning. According to her, she always knew my name was going to be Olivia, after her favorite actress, Olivia Newton-John. Growing up, she watched Olivia star in an array of different shows, movies, and hit songs, but her favorite was always Olivia's role as Sandy in Grease. Looking back on it, she admits the central theme of changing yourself for a guy is maybe not the best lesson to instill. Regardless, it's a classic and one of her favorite movies. For my 13th birthday, she took me to see a rendition of Grease the musical. I immediately fell in love with the characters and music and felt connected to my name in a way I never had before. Like anyone else with a fairly common name, I'm constantly looking around, always hearing my name called, and I'm always being mistaken for other girls. In fact, on my middle school club soccer team, there happened to be 3 Olivias on a team of 14. The team quickly learned that there was no possible way for us to function when calling out for a name meant 3 separate girls were expecting a pass, backup, or whatever else they were asking for. So early on into the season, the coach sat us around in a circle and had the other girls vote on what we would be called. For the first girl, they picked the obvious answer, Olivia. For the second, they went with the common nickname, Liv, but by the time they got to me, they were stumped. Eventually, it was decided that I would just be called by my last name. This is one of the first instances in which I was regularly referred to by my last name, Starman. It is decidedly less common than my first. Throughout the years, I've heard my fair share of interesting reactions to it. One demographic in particular, adults who grew up in the 80s to 90s, seem to have a very specific go-to. I have found that there is about a 1 in 5 chance that they will in some way, shape, or form reference the 1984 song Starman by David Bowie. I will spare you from my worse than average rendition, but if you don't know it, I suggest you listen to it. I would like it if I was not so frequently referenced to it. However, having such a catchy last name does have its perks. It's not easily forgotten. In fact, when I was a freshman, I was called up on occasion to practice with the higher soccer team. And I'm about 90% sure that I was picked because my last name was easy for the coach to remember and fun to shout across the field. For whatever reason, some people, whether that be friends, coaches, or teachers, just think that my name is innately funny. In fact, in my freshman year history class, my teacher would almost exclusively call me Starman, to the point where when my classmate approached me in the halls, she called out, "Hey Starman," because she thought that was my first name. This is hardly an isolated occurrence. I've also been told that Starman would be a good stage name, which, would be helpful. That is, if I had any desire to pursue theatrics, which unfortunately I don't. It has been harder for me to determine the meaning of my last name, however. Some define Starman as referring to a bird catcher. Others say it derives from an old Slovenian nickname, literally translating to old man. My preferred interpretation is that Starman references someone connected to the stars, like a spaceman or alien. When I was younger, it felt fitting to think that I was in fact some extraterrestrial being. It explained why I felt different. This sounds sad, but I never thought of it like that. For a little kid who is way too into fantasy books, it just seemed like the straightforward explanation for why I was unique. There is another rather ironic aspect to the situation. I'm terrified of space, truly. I hate thinking about it because when you stop to think about how many other planets and solar systems exist, it makes your world seem so insignificant. However, it can also be beneficial to look at the big picture. Your problems are minute and temporary in the context of what else exists. Whatever is happening now is only happening now, and there's so much more. That aspect of space, at least, even I can get behind. As someone who's been able to experience both sides of the coin, having a common first name as well as a less common last one, I've seen how a name can influence first impressions. People might remember you easier, make assumptions, or even treat you differently for something as trivial as how they call you. However, looking back on all these instances, I found that these impressions are fleeting. There are things that are out of your control, but then it's up to you to decide who you are from there. It doesn't matter if your name has some deep meaning, if it is common or rare, passed down or brand new. What makes you you is not your name itself, but who you are as an individual. Up next, we have Michelle.
Hi, I'm Michelle. I'm in Miss Maneo's third period class up there. I'm just going to be presenting a short poem I wrote a couple months ago. Last night I had a dream. I dreamt that I was in a car, driving far, far away. In the passenger seat next to me, there was a duffel bag of things I couldn't bear to leave behind. The people I could bear, though. I could bear to leave them behind because the people weren't there to stare and ask me why I had taken the bag of things and not them. The bag was there to remind. It reminds me of what I could have had and what could have been mine had I not made the mistakes that I had I actually tried. The radio on the car is broken, but the white noise of the static helps me sleep. I close my eyes to avoid that duffel bag, the precious duffel bag of things. But eventually, it gets too much to bear, and I force myself awake. I rip that duffel bag out of the seat, and I prepare to throw it away. But before I drive away, I make one last mistake. There's one thing in the bag that I wish to keep. So I open it, it's empty, I'm left out on the street. The bag is empty, and I'm asleep. Next up is Kayla.
Second shout out to Maneo's third period class. And also shout out to all my friends who have had to hear me complain about being anxious about this moment. Love y'all. I'm gonna read a poem about just the inherent survivor's guilt and imposter syndrome that comes with kind of just being alive. Thank you. What did I do to deserve this? No, really. What did I do to deserve this? I look around me and see people fighting, crying, dying, just to get to the same rung of the ladder I was born onto, and yet I don't climb higher. They're chained to pages of barriers they have to erase just to tell their story. I was given a blinking cursor and a blank document, endless potential. It makes me sick. What kind of cruel irony decided that the one with the least direction should have the most freedom so that I could spend every day feeling like it's a waste? Everyone tells me I'm so smart, I'm so creative, that I'm going to go places. I was born into a time where the shape of my eyes doesn't decide where I go. My ancestors with eyes shaped like mine fought wars, traveled miles to find places with opportunity, all for me to do nothing with it. Every breath I take feels like a stolen gift meant for someone else. Oh, Achilles, is this why you went to Troy despite it meaning your death? Because the shame in wasting your mother's efforts to keep you alive, in wasting the grand prophecies that hung heavy above your head, Huaneng, you longed for nothing more than to be on this earth. Your children, my grandmother, my grandfather, my mother, me, to be on this earth. And yet I long for nothing more than to be anywhere but here. Dear God, you claim to have a plan, a reason for everything, so why can't I see a reason or plan for myself? I sit here and complain about too much privilege of all things, but the world's smallest violin is still playing its song. Can anyone hear its song? Can anyone hear my song? Can anyone hear me? Please, someone, anyone, just hear me and tell me it's not a waste. Next up is Avery.
Hi, my name's Avery Archer, and I'm from Mrs. Weidig's Honors English 2 class. This is my first time presenting at Writers' Week, and I will be presenting my poem, Tecum et nympha in silva saltare volo, or alternatively, I couldn't think of a name for this, so I put a sentence through Google Translate, because although I can speak Latin, I'm too lazy to translate it myself, by Fall Out Boy. For years I had been alone. I never thought anyone could love me. Yet here you are, lovely as moonstone. It's so confusing. Why won't you leave? Even after you said you loved me and I ran, how are you so carefree? I want to be myself and be loved for who I am, but if you love me, I'll break, like glass in your hands. To fit in, I craft a fake. If stars can burn, why shouldn't I? I hope this self will never become the things I hate. If I were to die, oh, the songs I might inspire from amidst their tears and cries, so they'd play their flutes and lyres, creating those melodies I love as my soul soared higher. Even as the rain falls from above, I want you to live, not merely exist. I want you to dance with the fairy among the fern and the foxglove. On bread alone a man does not subsist. He must find that which he seeks. Let your soul guide you, do not resist. Get up, my love, and patch the leaks. Your mind is a powerful thing, but you've been sitting there for weeks. Have they not just clipped your wings? Have you been broken? Have they also taken your desire to sing? I contend that the door is open, and the sun shines outside. You must arise and say the unspoken. Be warned that you will be tried, and you may feel like giving up, but stand your ground. Do not be dragged down by the tide. When you plant your hazel and buttercup, your roses, lotuses, snapdragons, your lovely lily of the valley and your shrubs, remember my onlagen. Your heart may be fragile and scared, but you shall triumph again. As the lightning flashes overhead, I want to live, not solely survive. I want to dance with the fairy among the poppy and orchid. I will stand here with you if you like, but I am afraid to love you. I am afraid to thrive. Every night I shed tears anew. I weep, but I do not know why. Tell me, what do? I weep, and they do not hear my cry. What must I do for them to listen? I do not want to die. Something feels like it is missing. A piece of my heart is gone. The part that would be forgiving. Trust me, I see more than I let on. I wonder if this is why I fear my own imperfection, because I just cannot move on. I crave another's affection. I want to be wanted, but I am terrified of connection. I am haunted by a past love. You should not be faulted. Even as the clouds continue to darken steadily, I want you to live, not just get by. I want you to dance with the fairy among the rue and the spider lily. I can see the pain in your eyes. I know what you feel. Please, my love, do not cry. It will take a long time to heal, but trust that what I say is true. I know it hurts. I know it's real. I know it's afraid. I know you're afraid because I know you. Inside your head, it's dark. What hurts you hurts me too. And somewhere within you is a spark. It's small, but it still burns. Remember this when you feel you're going berserk. Your past, your heart spurns. Even when that which it has been taught to hate is that for which it longs, in time your heart will learn. So many times you have been wronged. The scars, while not visible, are still so deep. My love, you must not forget your song. Your melodies, harmonies, in mind keep. Even when you're paralyzed with fear, do not let them fall into the eternal sleep. Even as the sky begins to clear, I want to live, not only just to make ends meet. I want to dance with the fairy among the astragalus and coriander. Although I fear your love, even if sweet, with you I let down the facade. I no longer want to bleed. Even if the sun falls from the sky, I will love you and hold you. I will dance with you among the lilac and the arbor vitae. I will provide for you and protect you. If only you would be mine, I will sing with and dance with you. If only you could be mine, we could dance with the fairy in the forest. The next presenter will be Iggy.
Hi, everyone. I have 3 poems to read to y'all today, but before I do so, shout out to Mr. Anderson's 3rd period AP Lit class. The way she bats her eyes every 0.8 seconds when she speaks to me, like every cell of my body has its own set of eyes and she doesn't want to get caught staring. Still, the way her heart beats to mine is a stare so present and was always so evident. I get overwhelmed. I try to stop the symphony our bodies together create, but the distance only makes it quiet in a dramatic, attention-grabbing way, and the noise just adds variation. It's harmonious, really. Am I the only audience here? Perhaps I'm the only one seated. Everyone else can only listen by pressing their ear against the shut theater doors. They make tubes to listen from a distance. Perhaps they even use a microphone. Hopefully not. Perhaps, hopefully, a megaphone. I like to share. Putting it like that really does make me thankful. I did buy my ticket thinking it was a movie, though. I want to watch the movie. Perhaps I'll let the orchestra finish. I do love to hear symphonies conclude. Perhaps it'd be more fun with a friend, or to ask to go to play alongside. Perhaps even sing. I really, really desire to watch that movie, and that's the thing. It's my dream movie, but can I even unlock the door? More people gather outdoors, and as time continues to spin the world around this theater, I'm still stuck on. The way she pulls her fingers when speaking to me is authentic. I fidget with my legs, but still we seem to feel the same way. Nevertheless, we find different means and styles of expression, probably what keeps this puzzle intact. This human-to-human connection is a puzzle which had pieces lost and found, and the ones that weren't found were remade. I miss solving this puzzle. I had last touched it yesterday afternoon, yet the unused pieces did not seem to decrease. One time, it did feel near complete. I guess she must have bought the puzzle equivalent of a DLC, or simply used black magic. Whether she did this from mere selfishness or a want for greater good, I don't know. What I do know is my wish to have been conferred with beforehand. My heart has outgrown adventure, I like to think. I also like to think that I wish to have been conferred with. No, this wish is real. I can't stop thinking of you. Thank you. Next up, Niha.
Check. Oh, okay. Hi, I'm Neha. Shout out to Mr. Harridge's 3rd period AP Lang. So I wrote a song. It's pretty short. It's about like nostalgia and like reminiscing about the past. Won't breathe trailing sand that stays. Streets alive with cheers. I step among the crowd. A day dances through you. The rhythm carrying you along. There's no worries, no regrets. I can stay here forever. Don't even know why I left. The world felt so big, stretching far past all its lights. Just a small kid with wide eyes at the sides. My colors felt brighter than the moments I outgrew. What I'd give to see it all the way I used to. Overwhelmed with joy, I take a moment to myself, slipping past the crowd of dancing feet, a world to tell. Barefoot on the rooftop, the warmth beneath my feet. The stars shine bright above me, their glow keeps me from sleep. Still hear the roars of music that vibrate through the ground. All alone up here, but I'm accompanied by the sound. The world felt so big, stretching far past all its lights. Just a small kid with wide eyes at the sides. My colors felt brighter than the moments I outgrew. Oh, what I'd give to see it all the way I used to. Thank you. Next up is Grace.
Hi guys, my name is Grace, and I would like to give a shout out to Mr. Anderson's third hour. And then today I'm going to be reading a narrative essay that I wrote last year in AP Lang, and then I continued to work on it this year. It's a Saturday night, an empty calendar in my hands. I immediately find myself trapped in a struggle against loneliness. I'm well aware that everyone is out and about, but how do I become everyone? The repeated command that's piercing my ears, coming from my mother as my eyes are glued to my phone on the floor of my bedroom. Oh, just text your friends, you haven't been out in weeks. My palms start to sweat at the thought that has haunted me for months. Just, she says. Just. If only she could step into my platform converse, maybe she would understand. Endless scrolling through Snapchat, staring at each name for what feels like eternity, wondering if these people who fit the names glaring into my eyes will even enjoy my presence. The outside world calls to me to go experience life while I'm still here on this earth, to see what it has to offer. Leaning against the wall beside my dresser, my head falls just in time for my tense hands to catch it. Fully dressed hours ago, in my favorite outfit, ready to grab my purse and go, I scrolled through the posts uploaded by the minute from every single person I had messaged hours ago. They're on their phone. They saw it. I know they did. I still like their post. Countless nights I've spent breathing the thick, heavy air through my nose and out my mouth for 5 seconds each, placing my palms on my knees to stop them from shaking, rolling my shoulders in circles to release tension. All these tricks my therapist has taught me, hoping at least one of these days they will work their magic. My parents are knocking on my door, pleading for me to let them in, but I can't let them see me like this. Every few months, I would find myself hanging around a different crowd of friends after drifting away from the previous ones, but there was no one who really stood by my side through each group. Each Saturday afternoon, I knew I needed to dedicate a fixed amount of time to sending messages, hoping at least one person would respond. It became a draining routine. As the weeks passed by, I found myself staying within the four walls of my home, my family glued to my side no matter what. At dinner time, I trudged down the stairs to the kitchen table, surrounded by the four people who always find a way to fill the hole in my heart. Their wise words sank into my now open mind that it doesn't hurt to stay home a few nights. The moment I stopped constantly reaching out, it was clear as day who my real friends were. Even when I found a few girls who I knew had my back, a Saturday night at home once in a while really wasn't the end of the world. The sadness started to fade as I realized that the tunnel isn't pitch black the whole way through. The light has welcomed me with open arms, pulling my mind and my heart into its chest. What a learning experience sophomore year was. Not learning to find real friendships, but taking the path of finding peace within myself. From all the long days and nights I spent at home, I discovered that alone and lonely really don't have to resonate with one another. The fear of missing out turned into the joy of missing out, spending time with my own mind and heart, realizing not to give my time to those who really don't value it. I often found myself stuck in the idea that Saturday nights must be for going out. But those few friends and family who showed me the beauty of balance have changed my life in more ways than they will ever know. Thank you.
Amazing pieces, so incredible voices. If you've never applied to Writers Week, the way it works out, you have an electronic link, you submit maybe 1 or 2 works, and you kind of go from there. And then it gets approved, teachers look at it, you get on stage. Every once in a while, you may have some extra writing and be able to provide some new stuff. So to my writers who I talk to, this is your cue to get your second pieces ready, right? We're gonna do that in just a second. Here's some more writing from some of our incredibly talented individuals. I have some questions. Neha, question for you. Amazing job, by the way. Tell us about your music history, what instruments you played, and when did you start playing?
I've been playing music since I was 7. I've been playing piano for like 8 years, but I only started singing like 4 years ago. And I go to School of Rock, so I've been performing for a while, and I like to play with my band. And this is my first ever song I've written, so yeah, that was exciting.
You did an incredible job with that song. In terms of like inspirations, musicians that you value the most, maybe who are some names that you could throw out there?
I don't really listen to songs like this, but I sort of just came up with it one day, and I wrote it in like 2 days. But this is something different. So yeah, I don't know.
If we wanted to see you perform, you have anything coming up?
Wait, what?
Like performances, School of Rock? I know how you play around. Do you guys have a concert coming up?
The season hasn't started yet, but we've played at Cubby Bear, so we might play there again.
So watch out. Last question before I start bringing some new writers up here. Avery, I was struck when you said you speak Latin. How did you learn, and how long have you been speaking Latin for?
So I was homeschooled for 10 years. This is my first year in public school, and Latin was a required subject. So I've been learning Latin since I was 4. Until I was 12, it was like basic, and then after that, it was like intensive Latin study. So I'm not fluent in Latin, but I know enough that I can translate on site. So if I know the word, I can figure out what it means.
Can you give us like a sentence or two? You think about it.
From memory, not really, because most of Latin is like, yes, Rome. Things are in the forests. There's a lot of soldiers. So it's not really like any modern stuff, but the title of that poem is like just a whole conglomeration of random words that don't actually mean that, but put together, it would be that. So.
Awesome. All right. Let's get some more pieces up here. Kayla, you ready? Yeah, you good to go? All right, come on down. Welcome, Kayla.
I've never actually spoken this one out loud. This might go horribly wrong, we'll see. We are made of art as much as it is made of us. Anyone who claims otherwise has never seen the pigments and paints on a canvas crying out with a story a million years old, marble sculptures with each crack and jagged edge filled with love and tragedy, the pen and pencil as they skate across every page. Or they've never noticed the way a dancer moves through air like ink across a paper, a writer's page covered corner to corner in ink smudges and coffee stains and tears, the songs laced with hate and love, joy and despair, and calm and anger. Or maybe they've ignored the way dust forms landscapes on every surface, the patterns in the waves and the ripples on the sea, the breath on a cold day as it swirls towards the sky. They've never seen the web of veins found in every body, rushing with the beat of every life itself. The smiles around them brighter than the sun, more infectious than any disease could ever hope to be. The grays that will slowly fill the heads of one couple, the one who knew each other's names long before they even knew their own. Anyone who claims that we are not art has never truly opened their eyes. For me, we, my friend, are art in motion.
All right, before bringing up our next presenter here, question for Kayla. You have a really strong delivery. Is that something that you actively practice, or does it just come naturally?
I think it, quite frankly, comes from having a lot of actor friends in theater, and I kind of just, hi dramatics, hi Sophia. I kind of just mimic their diction a lot.
It's working. Good job, theater friends. Next up, Iggy.
Hi, I have a poem to read and also a monologue that was kind of our final for Mr. Anderson's third period AP Lit. Shout out, by the way. But my iPad is dead, so I'll just read the poem. I've begun my day, and now I vividize all which is important. I hold on to all I need to tell you, letting the weight of the words turn me into a corpse, decomposing, devoured by gnats. Going about my day in a cloud, I think for a minute when my barber asked if I'd like to leave a tip. Is this love, or just the way I decide to live?
We're going to have one more presenter, but always when I hear people reading their work, it leads to questions in my mind. I know Iggy a little bit, very philosophical mind. Iggy, when you think of poems, like what kind of inspires you? Like you just kind of, boom, Barbara right there. Is it something as simply as the everyday, or is it certain individuals kind of working as a muse, or what works? How do things work for you for inspiration?
I'm really inspired by myself. I take inspiration from the things that I feel from every day. So if I had just go to a barbershop and get a haircut and it was just like normal to me, like I didn't feel anything crazy, then I might not get inspired. But if I was thinking of like a topic I don't usually think about, or approaching getting a haircut in a different mindset, that might be of inspiration.
Now, I also have to point out, you have some sunglasses on your head, too. I've always known you to be a person of sunglasses. How many pairs of sunglasses do you have?
50.
50. I like it. Last but not least, welcome back, Avery.
Hi again. I haven't ever read this poem out loud before. In fact, I wrote it last week, so we're gonna hope this actually goes okay. This poem is titled, "This Poem is Not About How Much I Hate Brutalism." 1,000 years in the future, archaeologists will find my skeleton. They may see a female skeleton with its slight build and wide hips, and they might say to one another, "Look at this ancient woman." But I was never my body, and what they find is not me anymore. I am a living soul inside a house of flesh. It is my home, and I shall decorate it how I wish. Inside it is warm and cozy and comfortable, and I will repaint the outside to match if I want. Sometimes people walk by my house and tell me it was always meant to be a brutalist and minimal structure, but the inside is wooden and earthy and full of life, and my house is a woodland cottage, not a mid-century modern suburban house. 1,000 years in the future, archaeologists will find my skeleton, and they will not assume I was a woman. They will just see bones and dust and what was a person, and they will know that I was more than they could ever know.
We're going to be leaving you in a second. So if you have some questions for our writers, I've been asking all the questions. I'm going to give you a chance in a second, so let it brew in your head. I'm going to ask one question to all the panels here, and you can kind of pass the microphone along. So my question is, hey, either you can go two ways with this. Why did you want to read at Writers Week, or why should others want to read at Writers Week? So think about it for a second. You all think of questions too, okay? Think about it.
You all should read at Writers Week, and I decided to read at Writers Week because it's scary.
I decided to read on Writers Week. It was completely impulsive. I think I submitted it at like 4 a.m. So, you know.
Yeah, I was pretty impulsive too. I wrote the song like the night of submission, but I wanted to try something new, and I think y'all should be open to too.
Some of you might not believe this, but I feel like I can be kind of shy, and like if you have certain classes with me, you probably don't believe that, but this was me trying to face my fears and like speak in front of a large audience.
For me, it was the thought of like, it's my senior year, so I kind of wanted to just do something different, and Writers Week is one of my favorite weeks of the year, so I kind of just wanted to be a part of it before, and this would be my last one, so yeah, that's kind of what I did.
I decided to present at Writers Week after I did the poetry slam last semester. I literally just submitted the poem that I read at the poetry slam and somehow got accepted, even though I'm edgy and emo and I wrote it when I was 13. So don't be afraid to submit your quote-unquote bad work, because it's probably not.
I chose to read at Writers Week because I saw it last year, and I was like, oh, that looks fun, and I was really inspired by everything last year.
All right, clap it up. I'm going to ask one more question. I lied. Then I'm going to ask you all questions. Olivia, you were talking about your name. What made you think about kind of investigating your name and kind of writing that piece?
All right, so it was actually in your class. I was sitting with Brayden and Caleb, and we were Google translating what our names meant and like looking up like the history towards it.
I like it. All right, I'm going to you, audience members. We got time for a couple of questions right there. For Avery. What was the process of writing your first poem?
So I was inspired by Victorian flower language, and I wrote the entire thing in about an hour because I was just like, you know what? I have a meter, or whatever it is that poems do. My dad has a creative writing degree. I have no idea how to write a poem. And I was kind of just like, cool, flowers. We're going to figure out something that works with that.
All right, we had a theme and we rocked it out. Who's got another question? Right there. Did you tip the barber?
I always go to get haircuts with my dad, and we both have go-to barbers that we go to because they're the good ones. My barber wasn't there. Our initial plan was to both wait for the same barber. We didn't want to wait that long, so we just left.
There you go. So no. Oh, there was a question. What do you got? What haircut were you getting?
I'm going to go back and get the haircut this weekend, hopefully. Just like this, a little buzz cut, you know. Just like a little short.
Do you do like a fade or?
I think so. It's just in my Great Clips memory. I go to Great Clips.
Maybe one or two more questions. What do you got? Everyone's favorite song? Okay, everyone's favorite song. I like it.
All Time Triumph by XXXTentacion.
I listen to a lot of indie, but it's called Hold Me Down by the Happy Fits.
I listened to so many variety of genres, I couldn't choose, but
either pop or metal, so like either end of the side.
Probably Falling Behind by Leve.
I feel like I listen to so much music, but I think like my all-time favorite song that I just loved for like 10 plus years is Walking on a Dream.
I listen to exclusively metal and K-pop. My favorite songs are probably either Destroya by My Chemical Romance or like Descending by Sleep Token.
It's kind of hard for me to decide, but I think probably This Is What Space Feels Like by Jake.
Nice. Right there, what do you got? Who Can't You Stop Thinking About? Was that to Iggy? You don't have to say a specific person.
Like I said, I'm inspired by myself.
That makes sense. There you go. What do you got? Ooh, so if you didn't hear it, did having the name Olivia work as a connection to other Olivias?
Yeah, definitely. I'd say that there's girls that I've met and like, oh, like, it's like an instant connection. I don't think it's really a negative thing. It's just like a fact. I don't know.
Clap it up once again. Thank you, third hour. Bring in the energy. You're awesome.